Hola, hello, and bonjour, my beautiful animation fans. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. So this video is just going to be tips for animators that, I think would be helpful. I've been animating for I would say, altogether, I've been animating for a couple years, off and on. I started animating when I was around 11, but I didn't start doing it seriously till I got to college, and I actually took college classes. So I feel like I'm qualified to talk about animation and tips for people who want to get better in the practice. So that's actually that's actually the first tip I have is to practice. And you are never going to get better if you don't practice. And I know that everybody says the same thing, like, oh, practice, practice, practice. I know. I'm like a broken record, and everybody's like a broken record. But, like, honestly, it works. Like, literally go back. I have not deleted a single one of my videos. And I will not, because I want to use my channel as a sort of way of showing how I've progressed. But look at my very first animated video. It's awful. It does not look great. I am not proud of it. And actually, because the deadline has been extended so long, I'm going to be redoing it and hopefully making it better. But in just the short months that I've been animating, and I've been working on animating almost every single day, I've been improving, and it's a natural art progression. Another thing about art progression is that, at least with me, you'll notice that your skill does not level up as quickly as your mind does. I mean, you'll start animating or doing art, and you'll realize that you know what it should look like, and the final product should look like this, and the final product should be like this, but you still do not have the skills to reach that. Excuse me, sorry, I have a bit of a cold. But you still do not have the skill to reach that. That can be so frustrating, and you just have to push past that, because you have to get past that initial block, because that means that your brain is starting to recognize things that you're seeing, and it's starting to recognize what is a good quality animation. Like, when I was in art classes, I constantly would reach these points of where it's like, I hate everything I'm doing, because my brain knows what it's supposed to look like, and my brain knows what it's supposed to be like, what it's supposed to do, but I just can't do it. And that's normal. It's a normal part of art progression. So, aside from practicing, which you should be doing, like, trust me, you should watch the 12 principles of animation. There's a YouTube video on it, and it goes into these things. And I know that, if you want to watch this video for animation tips, but you don't want to watch that video, I don't know what to tell you. But literally just the 12 principles of animation. It's what they used at Disney. It's what they used in the beginning of animation way back in the 30s when they first started animating. This is like the techniques they made. It's like, it tells you how to animate, and like the simple principles that make good quality animation. Things like follow through, like drag time, hang time, spacing, stuff like that. Basically, so I'll talk a little about a couple of them. Hang time just means that when something's in the air, it is in the air for a shorter amount of time than it's going to be when it is, what's it called? Like, okay, so for example, if you are throwing a ball, and you throw the ball from the ground, and you throw it, it's going to hang in the air at the very top of the arch. It is going to hang there for a little bit longer than it's going to go down. That's what hang time is. It's hard to explain. Like I said, the 12 principles of animation will really help you figure all that stuff out. And, things that drag behind, like tails or ears or hands. Basically, when you animate something like moving, for example, if you animate an arm swinging, the first thing that should stop moving is the top of the arm, followed by the bottom of the arm, followed by the hand and the fingers. The hands and the fingers are the last thing to actually move through. And if you want to be able to actually figure out how to animate like a person, then I suggest actually physically moving and physically watching yourself move, either with a video camera or having a friend move for you. and seeing, like, just literally a swing your arm, and you'll see how your hand kind of drags behind it, and it takes just like a split second longer to reach where you're trying to reach than the other part of your body. But that's another advice I have. It's what we did in my animation class. Okay, so if you want to learn how to do a walk cycle really good, if you want to learn how to do a really good walk cycle, my advice is to get a friend and have that friend, or you can tell them to do exactly what you say and to not do anything extra. Like literally exactly as you say, and tell them how to walk. Like literally say, put the weight on your right foot while lifting your left foot, and they'll like don't do anything extra. Don't assume anything. Like literally do exactly what they say, and you'll see just how difficult it is to describe how you walk. We did this in animation class, and it was so much fun, and it taught me so much about how people walk, and it's really interesting. Another good way of getting really good at animating is watching references of actual people and actual real life objects instead of animation. Because yes, animation, well, even if it's the most beautiful animation and you want to copy it and you want to pay homage to it, you will learn so much more from actual real life, because at some point, if everybody starts using animations as references, say it'll be like a telephone effect, this person used an actual reference, the next person uses the animation that the first person did as reference, and so on and so on and so on. And like it gets crazy. So make sure you use actual references, and also it'll help you learn about real I don't know, animation isn't supposed to be real, but at the same time, when it isn't grounded in reality, it can kind of just come off as cheap and come off as not as good quality as if it was grounded in reality. I suggest life drawing or basic drawing classes where you are doing still lives or drawing people, just because it has nothing to do with animation, except for the fact that it will teach you so much. It will teach you hand-eye coordination. It'll teach you shading and weight distribution. Oh, that's so important in animation, especially if you're drawing a character who's heavier. Weight distribution is difficult to do. Keeping things the same size, like relative sizes and stuff. I don't know. Any artist or animator, I suggest taking a life drawing class, or just drawing people in real life, or drawing more still lifes and practice, practice drawing physically, not just digitally, but drawing, traditionally, would really helps too. Watch tutorials online. There are hundreds of tutorials online. You're watching this one now, so I assume that you like watching tutorials, because if you're like me, then you like watching things and learning new techniques and stuff. And seriously, know that practicing is the only way to improve. You are not going to improve so you cannot improve just by watching a bunch of videos on how to better animate. The only way you can improve your animation is to continue to animate. Do not get discouraged. And I know that that's hard to, it's easy to say and it's hard to follow through on. But this is something that I had to learn too, is that you're going to make bad art. You're going to make bad animations. You are going to make stuff you are not proud of. Not a single artist on this earth has not made something that they're not happy with. Every single person who makes art has made things that they are not proud of. But those things are key points in stepping blocks in actually going and becoming a better artist and becoming a better animator. Nobody just wakes up and becomes, a Disney-esque style animator overnight. And maybe that's not your dream. Maybe you just want to get better at, drawing cats. But, nobody gets better just by reading about it or watching videos about it. You have to physically just do it. Actually animate. Actually do it. My one teacher said, my one art teacher I remember said, make bad art, but make art. That's what she told me when I told her that I hated everything that I did. She told me that make bad art, but make art. You'll look back and be so proud of how far you've come, and you are so far ahead of everybody else who's not started yet. Do not be afraid to fail, and do not be afraid to practice. It is not wasting your time, even if you end up doing something and, like, for example, a map part. If you end up animating a map part and they don't use it for the map, or the map falls through, don't get discouraged about that. Or if you animate something and you end up hating it and you just end up scrapping it, don't say, oh, well, I can't animate, so I'm just gonna stop. No, don't do that. It's so important for you to keep going. And that's the only way you're going to be improving, is practicing every day, trying new techniques, trying new ways of figuring it out. And eventually you'll find out how you animate best. Try different mediums, like try traditional animating. That is so hard, by the way. That's what I had to do for my animation class. Oh my gosh. I love using Flip-A-Clip so much more because it's so much quicker. But it really makes you appreciate traditional animated movies like Robin Hood, or Fox and the Hound, or Snow White. All those really makes you appreciate those older movies. Anyway, I'm going off topic, but try different mediums for what you do. And if you're going to use Flip-A-Clip, try to become a master in Flip-A-Clip. Whatever animation software you're using, try to learn as much as you can about it and consistently use that software. And the more comfortable you get with the software, the easier it'll be for you to animate in that software. And don't try to use the software that the big names use, because they're often expensive, and there's no difference in that software versus the free stuff. I mean, like, you can animate something beautiful on a free software that you can, animate on an expensive software, and just the price tag doesn't do anything. There's nothing that's better about, like, Maya, for example. The only reason you should be using that is if you actually are trying to get a job at Disney. But even then, Disney trains people on how to do that. And if you are trying to get a job at Disney, you probably wouldn't be watching my videos, because my quality is way lower than the standard that they would have at Disney. Even though that is one of my dreams, is to work on a 2D animated movie. Anyway, I would love to be a 2D animator, like, full time. That's the dream. Anyway, so those are my tips. Like I said, keep practicing. And don't discourage yourself, and don't put your art down. I hate seeing that. When I post videos, I see people posting in the comments how their animation is so awful compared to mine. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't put your art down. You have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own cheerleader and be like, yes, I made this and I'm not as proud of it as I should be, but I made it and I worked hard on it. And that's all you have to say. That's all you have to do is, like, I worked hard on this and I'm proud of it. I'm proud that I worked hard, even if I'm not happy with the results. You need to be your own cheerleader, because there's going to be plenty of people that'll drag your art down, and you should not be one of them. All right, that's about it for now. If you have any questions on animation, if I get enough questions specifically on animation and how I animate, I will make a separate video about it. Or just questions for me in general. I've been wanting to do a Q&A for a while. I don't know if anybody will actually stick around to the end of the video. So, yeah, just leave me a comment if you have a question for me, and I'll try to answer it. But thank you so much for watching. I love you, and goodbye.